A young man in Iowa raised $1 million to help sick children. In response to this, phony journalist decided to destroy his life over tweets he sent in high school. It's a nauseating story. We've got the details on it next.
Dry mouth.
Well, a football fan's heartwarming charitable gesture could soon become something even more important, and we're praying for this. It could become a turning point in the 2019 cancel culture plague that is wrecking our country. That's not an overstatement, by the way. It all started on Saturday when Iowa State Cyclones fan Carson King appeared in the background of ESPN's College Game Day show. King held up a sign with a joke. He asked for donations to fund his Busch Light supply. Well, the moment went viral online, and soon King was receiving thousands of actual dollars in actual donations. Pretty cool. But rather than take the money for himself, he did something awesome, actually. King announced that he would donate the money to a local children's hospital, and he did. Eventually, he raised more than $1 million. Anheuser-Busch watched and then announced to be making a matching donation. Pretty neat. King became a minor celebrity and even appeared right here on Fox and Friends.
You raised how much total money?
So right now, with matched contributions, we're at over $822,000. They came in from just people watching College Game Day. We shared some social media posts with my intentions, which were to donate everything but the cost to cover one case of Busch Light to the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital. People caught wind of that. They started donating. Then Busch and Venmo caught wind of it. They're going to match whatever contributions we make. In children's hospitals, they do so much for everyone around the country. Obviously, you know, anything you can do to help the kids, you have to do.
Pretty great story, but maybe he shouldn't have gone on Fox News, because that clearly caught the attention of the journalistic community. A reporter at the Des Moines Register decided to basically wreck this kid's life. And so he did. He went digging for an excuse to destroy King. The Des Moines Register found that excuse in two tweets that King made 7 years ago. Tweeted 7 years ago when he was 16 years old, in high school. The tweets contain racially offensive humor, the kind that edgy teenagers traffic the world over. Not defending it, but that's how they talk sometimes. But it didn't matter. The Des Moines Register decided that this kid had to be destroyed. So they dispatched a reporter called Aaron Calvin, and he published a profile of King that highlighted the two ancient tweets. Then he went to Anheuser-Busch to tattle on King. Well, immediately, the beer company announced it would drop all association with Carson King. And by the way, the offensive tweets were simply jokes taken from the television show Tosh.0, which airs on Comedy Central to this day. Here's the irony. Anheuser-Busch is a major advertiser on Comedy Central. So in other words, this huge company is happy to crush you for quoting products they fund the creation of. If that doesn't make your head spin, then nothing will. In a bizarre statement posted to Twitter, meanwhile, the Des Moines Register's executive editor, a woman called Carol Hunter, said the paper's behavior was part of, and we're quoting, a routine background check. As if some guy raising money for a children's hospital in a viral video needed a background check from a failing, stupid newspaper staffed by failing losers, which are the people who work there, by the way. But this is common now. Reporters trolling a person's entire life history for excuses to destroy him. That is standard practice. The paper said it had debated extensively whether to publish the tweets. Right. Ultimately, they decided they had no choice but to do it, because journalism. So they destroyed an ordinary person for doing a good deed. It wasn't journalism. It was an act of cruelty and casual malice. One of many, by the way. But we figured we'd highlight this one because it's just completely over the top. And by the way, irony of ironies, the very reporter who tried to destroy Carson King's life turns out to have his own offensive tweeting history. Now, he's under investigation by his own paper, which never conducted a background check. The whole thing. Of course, it's a richly deserved irony, mutual assured cancellation. But really, this shouldn't be happening at all. We don't root for anybody's cancellation for hurting someone because of something he said in high school. Nobody should have his reputation wrecked for dumb jokes made a decade or whatever ago. Cancel culture is a national plague, and the only people it helps are bullies who use powerful platforms to defame and crush those they dislike, often with the help of major multinational corporations. Thankfully, some people are starting to realize that. More than 100,000 have signed a petition calling for the Des Moines Register to apologize to Carson King. And hopefully they will immediately. You should drop your subscription to that paper immediately if they don't. For real. Hopefully it'll be the last time we need a petition like this. Kira Davis is editor-at-large at Red State. We're happy to have her tonight. Kira, thanks a lot for coming on.
Hi, Tucker. Thanks for having me.
So, I've been in journalism for 28 years or something at this point. I'm not proud to say that. I don't see how checking this kid's tweets from high school and then running them in a profile is journalism, but maybe I'm missing something. You tell me.
No, it was pure insanity. I never would have, that would never have made it to publication if it had been one of my writers. I mean, I've been doing this job for almost a decade. Tucker, think about how many stories the Des Moines Register does every day on people. Are we to believe that they do thorough background checks into the tweets of every person they report on every single day? What a bizarre and pathetic excuse. I honestly think Carol Hunter should be fired. I don't think she should work in this industry again. They should be utterly ashamed of what they've done. There's nothing journalistic about this. Nothing.
Well, what it really is, and it's not even political most of the time, it's an exercise in power. It's an abuse of power. I mean, these are people who work in a failing industry for low wages, and they have no respect because everyone hates them, justifiably. And so the one way they can feel powerful is by hurting other people, and so they do.
But I do think it must have something to do with politics because obviously, I mean, Aaron Calvin, that reporter, had his own terrible tweets in his timeline, but nobody went investigating those until he turned up as a hypocrite, and then a bunch of people on the right went and dug in to his timeline. So I disagree, Tucker. I do think that it's got to be politically motivated in some way because it seems like people who identify as liberal left don't ever get to be the victims of this. Or people who identify as liberal and are doing this cancel culture stuff don't even seem to think that it matters what's in their timelines, which tells me they're exercising a type of privilege, liberal privilege.
No, I think you're right. I think when politics becomes your religion, there are no limits. And by the way, to all those who thought we'd have a better country when Christianity died, this is the country we got. Thanks.
Yeah.
Kira, great to see you tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tucker.
Well, the press